Belgium are out. They are done. Morocco and Croatia are in. Unbelievable scenes. I believe that we're going to spend a long time talking about not just the matches, but yes, Romelu Lukaku. My God. But Morocco, the second African nation to reach the knockout stages. That's the first time in a single tournament since 2014 when Algeria and Nigeria did it. Unbelievable stuff. Luis Miguel Echegaray, LME here, of course, and Gab Marcotti and Shaka Hislop in the house. Let's begin with you, Shaka. Your initial reactions as Morocco and Croatia are through.
Delighted for Morocco, African nation, topped their group in a group that I don't think many thought they'd get out of, with Belgium, who I think I'm right in saying came into this tournament number 2 in the nation, and Croatia, of course, beaten finalists 4 years ago. Delighted for Morocco. It was nail-biting stuff in both games for a number of reasons. And I'm not sure how much more of this my heart can take, given everything that we had to kind of sit through with Mexico and Poland yesterday, and we're looking at yellow cards. We almost had that exact situation again. But I think it's all came out well in the wash. Morocco topping with 2 wins and a draw. And then Belgium kind of kicking themselves at this point, wondering how they're not into the next round.
Gab, your thoughts, my friend. Insane group. Obviously happy for Morocco, as Shaka was discussing. But, you know, Belgium, the golden generation, it is not. Roberto Martinez, is his fate sealed? Give me your reaction from this group, my friend.
So obviously I'm going to declare my bias here because I wrote an article in the Times many years ago when all these, the sort of your hazards, Lukaku was 16, Hazard was, I think, 18 or 19 at the time. And I'm not saying I coined the term golden generation, but I felt invested that they would deliver something. And I still thought they could in this World Cup because as Vincent Kompany told us when we sat down with him, he said, you know, shut down goalkeeper, Shaka knows how important that is, and individual match winners just get to the knockout rounds and something can happen. And obviously Kevin De Bruyne, they have it. And, you know, Doku, if he plays more minutes, assuming he can do it. You've got Mertens, you've got Carrasco, and Lukaku. But I have to say, they don't deserve it. They're out because they didn't deserve it. I think back to that Canada game first and foremost, and throughout I think they were really subpar. And you know, this is a nation that, lest we forget. And before we go, and I know people are going to make fun of Lukaku because we like to be cruel that way, but Belgium as a whole, the Belgian product, this is a team that I think they were number 1 in the world for 5 years, something like that. And, you know, the FIFA ratings do matter. It's about consistency over time. And that tells you that this was special. But I think in terms of winning silverware, this is where the road ends.
Shaka, I want to focus more on Belgium now to Gab Marcotti's points about, you know, the rankings matter, of course. The depth matters and the talent that we've just been discussing. We have clearly such a great squad here. But, I mean, where do we point fingers here? Today was Romelu Lukaku as well. I mean, I don't want to completely blame him, but I'm just reading some stats here. His expected goals was 2.11 against Croatia today, the highest number of any player at the 2022 World Cup. I don't want to just completely focus on him. Obviously, it's a collective issue here, but was finishing the issue? Romelu Lukaku apparently in tears on the side of the pitch. Obviously, we don't wish that for anybody, you know, let alone a player that's had such an illustrious career. But what are your thoughts on Belgium, specifically on their goal-scoring situation?
Listen, I really sympathize with Romelu Lukaku. In terms of Belgium's feelings over time, to Gab's point, I think you pointed the finger at Father Time. This certainly was a golden generation, to use the phrase that Gab just highlighted. But I thought that opportunity had gone some 4 years ago when they didn't get to the final, when they were knocked out in the semis themselves. That being said, though, as much as Belgium sat on top of the FIFA rankings for as long as they did, that's all well and good. But international football, international tournaments take a different skill set. There's a lot of games in a very short space of time. How you manage that, The draw obviously also matters. So while I guess there's value to being as highly ranked in FIFA's rankings as Belgium have been, it's about managing that tournament experience. And yeah, you can point fingers in anywhere where you wish. This time around, Lukaku will get a lot of that stick. But I sympathize. He came into this tournament injured. He was included in believing that Belgium would get to the second round, and that's when he would be fit to come back in and contribute. And having to be thrown in at this point, halfway through this game, a must-win game, opportunities come at him. I thought the first that hit the post, I thought it was good defending and getting in positions right, throwing your body in the way of the ball. And then a couple others, you're just hoping for the ball to hit you right. As a goalkeeper, I know how thin those margins are. So I'm better equipped to sympathize than certainly many on the internet would prove to be. But if you're Lukaku, that's scant consolation at this point in time. And has been a frustrating experience for Belgium, for an incredible squad of players for as long as they've been together, to now kind of having to retool, having to find who's next in terms of succeeding this group, and recognizing that you never really lived up to your full potential when you look at the players at Belgium's disposal over the last few years.
But that's kind of like the cruelty and the absurdity of the World Cup, right? Some might say the beauty of the World Cup. Like you said, Shaka, the margins are so small, right? Any one of those Lukaku chances goes in, Belgium advance. But let's face it, over the 3 games, they probably don't deserve to advance anyway, even if one of those goes in. I think back to 2018, their masterpiece against Brazil when they played really, really well. And then they lose to France in a semifinal, which really was a freaking coin flip. Yeah. Or indeed, as Vincent Kompany told us when Jules and I sat down to talk to him, and he reminded me of this, in the group stage, again, the bizarre things that happen at World Cups. They play England in the third group game. They stuff them. Both teams advance. But England, by losing, actually have a much easier run, right, to the final. Because, let's face it, what was it? Like Colombia and Sweden, and people like that. And so, we attach so much importance to these things that happen every 4 years and its knock-on consequences and so on. But if we take a step back and are rational, in terms of, I thought the way they performed, clearly that being number one in the world for so many years matters more.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.